Hurricane Helene is straddling at the move through the eastern Gulf in Mexico toward a protected Tuesday evening and early Friday morning landfall of Florida Beach Bend coast, and expected to bring catastrophic wind and storm surge in the northeastern Gulf Coast. The National Hurricane Center said early Tuesday. Preparation must be accelerated to protect life property, the center urged. On Tuesday morning, Helene was uttered the Category 2 storm with a maximum sustained wind of 100 km/h. It is expected to be the major hurricane, meaning the Category 3 or higher, when it makes landfall on Florida northwest coast on Tuesday evening. The Hurricane Watch Center said strong belly forecast and Helene is expected to become a major hurricane when they reach Florida's beach coast. After making landfall, Helene is expected to turn northwest and slow down over the Tennessee Valley on Florida on Friday and Saturday. The center said weakening is expected after landfall, but Helene's fast speed with the all strong, dramatic winds, especially gusty winds, and prepared the southwestern United States, including over the high terrain and southwestern approaching. The central said rain could also be a big problem. Helene is expected to produce rain total of 6 to 12 inches over the part of southwestern United States, the southern Appalachian, with the isolated rainfall amount of about 18 inches. The Hurricane Watch Center said the precipitation is likely to result in catastrophic, potentially life-threatening flash flooding and urban flooding, as well as widespread river overflows. Numerous landslides are expected to slip terrain in southwestern Appalachian. A powerful storm has hit Florida, USA, caused widespread destruction, damage and flooding across the state. The storm, which made landfall with heavy rain and strong winds, left thousands of people without power and caused extensive damage in homes, businesses and infrastructure. The Gulf Coast on Florida was hardest hit, with the wind speed in some areas exceeded 100 km/h. Emergency services are working around the clock to assess the damage, rescue stranded residents and restore essential service. Local authorities have ordered evacuation from the low-lying area in a warning of life-threatening storm surge that have flooded several coast cities. Roads are flooded in several bridges and coastal due to high water level. The National Weather Service reported that the storm, which began a tropical depression, quickly extended by the Category 3 hurricane. The combination of warm ocean, water and formidable atmospheric conditions contributed to the storm stretch at the moving toward Florida. Officials said the storm is now raking east and more inland, but is still exceeded the bring heavy rain and possible tornadoes in the parts of Georgia and Carolinas. Florida Governor Rod Stady declared a state of emergency, urged residents to stay at home and stay at roads. It is a dangerous situation, it is over yet. Destiny said the press brief, our priority to ensure the safety of Floridians and provide immediate instinct on those affected by the storm. Despite through the preparation, including pre-position and the first response to secure criminal infrastructure in some areas sustained significant damage. In Fort Myers, the coastal city known for the tourism, much of the downtown area was submerged under several feet of water. Similar to Tampa Bay, often vulnerable of the storm, experienced widespread flooding. Airports across Florida have canceled hundreds of flights, while schools and businesses remain closed in parts of the state. Authorities are also warning residents to avoid downed power lines and to be continuous to the potential hazards such as damaged buildings and flooded streets. As the rescue and recovery efforts continue, meteorologists are closely monitoring the storm trajectory, helping to break it before the causing further destruction of the U.S. East Coast. The impact of the storm was felt for beyond the Florida coast, and the consequences affected various aspects of daily life. In addition, widespread power outage affected more than 1 million people. Communication networks are disrupted, making it difficult for families and load one of the communities of the emergency service to coordinate. In some rural areas, the lack of communication increasing concerns about the safety for those did not equip to evacuate this time. Rescue operations were handling the impossible roads and debris. Fallen trees, downed power lines and flooded streets blocked emergency vehicles from reaching some communities, especially in the most affected areas of the coast. In response, the National Guard was deployed to assist in the recovery efforts, using high-altitude vehicles and helicopters to evacuate stranded residents to deliver essential supplies such as food, water, and medical care. Hospitals across Florida on a high alert in precipitation in influx importance. Many healthcare facilities in low-lying areas has already evacuated non-critical patients from the hurricane heat, moving them from the safer locations inland. Themselves, emergency department remained overwhelmed, drainage injured from the storm-related incidents, including falls incidents caused by the debris and causes hypothermia from the prolonged exposure to flood waters. The state's tourism industry has also suffered significant damage in popular tourist centers such as Orlando, Miami, and Key West. west. Activities that come at standstill to perfect park, hotels to attraction and close their doors. In Florida, Chaos Authority reported significant infrastructure damage, including washed-out roads and damaged piers. Some tourists who were unable to leave before the storm that forced to take shelter in place. Governor emphasizing that while a mandate response to focus on the saving lives, long-term recovery will be huge challenges. It will take a few, not months, to fully assess the extent of the damage. On communities are resilient, but the road to recovery will be long. Insurance companies are already preparing for what could be the most experiencing natural disaster in Florida history. According to preliminary estimated, losers could reach billions of dollars, especially in the coastal region, where the high winds and the storm surge have damaged both residential and commercial properties. The state, which no stranger to hurricane, has spent years tragedy to infrastructure, but the sheer force and the storm overwhelmed even more the poor people. Environmental warn the potential long-term environmental impact of the heritage. Large-scale flooding could lead to severe contamination of water supplies on channeled debris and sewerage entire river to coastal waters. Wildfire in the region, especially Florida, sensitive, where this ecosystem could also suffer from the heritage aftermath in the habitat to destroy the food resources disrupted. In the midst of chaos, stories of resilience and humanity spirit have begun to emerge. In some in the worst hit era, neighbors come together to clear debris, self-supplies and support each other in immediate aftermath of the storm. Humanitarian organizations, including the Red Cross and local charities, mobilized to provide shelters and assistance in those left homeless in the disaster. President Joe Biden pledged federal assistance to provide it in the disaster declaration in Florida. The move unlocks additional resources in the state, including financial assistance to heritage victims and funding the rebuild critical infrastructure. In his statement, Biden experienced the solidarity with the people of Florida, urged them to need the warning of local authority, and promised that the federal government would stand with Florida every day step away. As the storm continues in the past, inland authority remain vigilant potential for the field severe weather, including flash flooding and tornadoes. Countries to pose danger not only Florida but also highlighting the state. Residents of the affected areas are urged to stay at home, avoid traveling in flooded roads, be alert and feel the weather warning. The full extent of the storm impact may be known at several more days in damage assessment countries. However, it's already clear that the storm will slip in the Mighty Mask of Florida, both in terms of physical destruction to cause the challenges and post-recovery efforts in the month ahead. For many people, the focus is now in several the roads rebuilding their homes and communities will require devastation, companies and significant resources. As Florida begins to recover from the devastation storm, recovery efforts on the high alert. Search and rescue teams continue to come through the flood-affected areas, searching to serious and essential damage. In some areas, rescue and resources had to wade through chest-deep water using boats to navigate streets and have turned into rivers. The Federal Emergency Management Agency set up temporary shelters and disruption chanted the basic necessities, but the communities remain cut off flooded roads and the impossible debris. Local authorities are urging caution, reminded residents to although the storm has faced dangerous standard water poses risk electric shocks from the down power lines and population from sewage outflow. In addition, the Warm Standing Center creates to idea environmental they may show raising concerns about the spread of water-related disaster in coming weeks. Health officials are urged residents to avoid contact of floodwaters and boil drinking water in affected areas. In major cities like Miami, the storm's fury has left scarce and the time to heal. High-rise building in the center city has broken down power lines and water damage in low-lying suburbs and inundated with the suburbs flooded.